It's named after my grandfather, Barney Danson, and my father and uncle were wonderful men, but they were not businessmen like my grandfather must have been, and they took over his business, but they couldn't withstand the depression. They were wonderful people, but I guess a lot of people couldn't withstand the depression. I didn't know it was a depression. I just thought I was going through life, and when I went to work, at school, I went delivering cakes for the Broadway bake shop, and I got $1.50 a week. I used to go from 12 to 1 at noon, and from 4 to 6 o'clock at night, and make $1.50 a week, and all the stale cakes I could take home on Monday. Academe was not my strong suit. Somehow or other, school and I were not a happy match. I didn't mean I didn't enjoy myself. I probably enjoyed myself far too much. I guess it could have been all that bad because my parents were in New York when I was offered a job as what they called then an office boy at Columbia Pictures in Toronto here. And I paid $6 a week for a 5.5-day week. Only had to work half days on Saturdays, and got terribly involved in the advertising end of it. But it was at this time the war was probably come upon us, and I knew we had to go. And I had a very close friend, Freddie Harris, whose father was our family doctor. And we felt that it was best to get in the army at this time, before the war broke out, start getting training and be ready. And as we were both Jewish, we had a special motivation. In the face of Hitler, we had no idea how bad it was going to be, but we knew it was going to be very unpleasant, and it was an evil that we had to deal with. I guess this would be after Kristallnacht, which was sort of around the time. And there were German families, Jewish families, coming to Canada, who we knew, and they were just getting out on time. They knew something terrible was going to happen, or that they had no future, and at the very least, they had no future. We didn't know what the ultimate consequence of all that would be, but we knew it was something we had to be concerned about. When war broke out, actually, our regiment wasn't mobilized immediately. It was a great disappointment to us. We were kids. We were 18 and wanted to get into the fighting before it was all over. And we went over to camp in Niagara-on-the-Lake, which was terrible, the equipment and uniforms, or lack of uniforms at the time. We just didn't have uniforms for weapons, training areas, or anything. We had a minuscule military when the war broke out. So we were getting impatient, as I even tried to join the Air Force, and it was not easy to get in. And finally, one day in early June of 1940, I got a call from the Air Force, and they would take me. And but that same day, my regiment mobilized, so I went with the regiment, and the rest is history. So we became. Freddie and I became very close friends with two other fellows. One, Jerry Rayner, who was an Englishman actually. He was in Trinidad and on a family plantation or something, and he came up to join the army in Canada. And Earl Stoll, who was from New Toronto, and we were all about the same age, and we were just kids, and we had a lot of fun together. I mean, war isn't all hell. There's an awful lot of fun in it, and we'd go to London together, go up to Scotland together. We didn't be in the pubs together. And there's something special about being a Canadian over there. This is in England. And you felt that special Canadian bit when you marched down or walked down the street, if it was Whitehall or Haymarket or around Trafalgar Square or Leicester Square. And you knew you were Canadian and had those badges on your shoulder, and you just threw your shoulders back a little further. It it was a wonderful experience, except that everybody got killed except me. I was away getting my commission. We'd all become corporals and sergeants, the four of us. We were afraid of missing what we called the invasion in those days. It wasn't really called D-Day until D-Day. And I remember it was May the 6th, 44. I left Vernon to get back to try and join my regiment to be there in time for the invasion. And when I was in Debert, Nova Scotia, it's our last stop, before going back overseas, D-Day came, and I got word there that Freddie had been killed right on the beach. Freddie was the only one who refused to commission. He didn't want to be away from the regiment when this big event came off. And he hardly got out of the landing craft. I don't think he had dry land. By the time I got back, it was into August. And when I got there, I found out that Jerry had been killed. And just Earl Stoll and I were the only two of our crew. And of course we were going to get revenge. That was part of the deal in those days. And but we were going to win the war all by ourselves. We're moving up in a place just around Falaise, a little village named Grand Monil. All of a sudden, in the middle of lunch, we started being mortared. And I had never been mortared by moaning minis before. I thought we were being dive bombed. They make a hell of a whistling noise when they come down on you. And this was pretty scary stuff. And it was all around us. Nobody hit. But I thought I was just wearing my beret, and I put on my tin hat, and another barrage came. And from what was I could figure, what the bomb that got me was landed behind me to my left, and it came and hit the edge of my tin hat, through the temple here, down to the back of my eye, and stuck in the roof of my mouth. I thought I was losing my teeth, which has upset me terribly. I always had good teeth, but it was only a piece of shrapnel. I guess we both cried a bit, and he went off to win the war by himself. But a month later, he was dead. We really knew what we were getting into. We knew our chances of survival were pretty damn low. We were infantry. You walk into the enemy, and you're more exposed than any other troops possible on a regular, continuing basis. I didn't do it on two continuing bases like I wanted to early. Freddie didn't do it for more than 40 seconds. We talked about it amongst ourselves, and we were all bachelors up until I found an English girl and got married. And we said, well, you know, our parents will feel badly, but it's part of the job that has to be done. And they were terribly young. I got back to Canada just before Christmas of 44 and came back in a hospital ship. I was in and out of hospital for a while, some months, I guess. It was Christie Street Hospital and the old Ford motor plant in those days. But things roll along. You get so involved, I guess, in your new life and raising a family and new jobs and starting my business, that this military part becomes secondary. So why I'm one of four, why I was saved, I don't know. And those are the tragedies of war, even though there are some compensating things, but nothing is worth it.